last 24 hours. Powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click. It is Wednesday, Parshas Tzav, Zion, Nisan, Tufshi, Pai Vuv on Edge, March 25th, 2026. My name is Gershy Schwarcz, and welcome all on Edge. Today's news is dedicated to my grandmother, whose yahrzeit is today. Rebbetzin Levi Hochberg Bas Reb Shloime Leitner, Zechroine Levruche. May her neshama have an aliyah, and be a meileh tziyosha for all of us down here, and obviously bring us together with Mashiach Tzedkayni B'mayra V'mayni Kana Yerushalayim Ed HaKodesh. Let's start with where things are standing right now, on day 26 of Operation Epic Fury, of the war with Israel and Iran and America. So, first of all, we'll start with a post from Trump, okay? The radical left, country-hating Democrats are I'm not going to try to imitate them, are trying to create inner chaos to take away from the great military achievement we are having in Iran. They hate seeing us, caps, big caps, win so completely and decisively, but the American public sees what is going on. I thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So, now we've got this off our back and stomach feels lighter, we can talk about matzah. Montreal and matzah, Beccarai. Montreal matzah, we all know Montreal matzah is light in the stomach, so you can wake up the next morning feeling refreshed and easy. You know why? Because they have delicious, the most healthiest matzah out there. You can still go out to your grocery supermarket. Despite what I said yesterday, that they're running out, they're not running out, they're good. They actually added more extra hours and extra shifts, and they're paying overtime so that you can have good, delicious matzah on your Seder table, Be'ezer Hashem Yisborach, next week, Wednesday night. So exciting, right? Who's excited for Pesach? Montreal and matzah. Go on to montrealmatzah.com, type in your zip code, and you'll find the nearest grocery or supermarket that sells it. You can stop by in the Brooklyn shop if you want, 4320 14th Avenue, or you can go into the Montreal Matzah Bakery. And you can buy yourself some extra thin matzahs, whole wheat matzahs, regular matzahs, oat matzahs, and spelt matzahs. They're making most delicious matzahs. Okay, overnight, Iran launched missile strikes against American military bases. Listen to this. They hit bases in Kuwait, Jordan, and Bahrain. At the same time, they fired another wave of attacks directly at Israel, hitting Tel Aviv again and Kiryat Shmona. Yesterday's attack at Tel Aviv was devastating. And the Israeli government put out videos showing people still walking around, even when the sirens are already, ringing and ringing, and they're not going into the shelters, continue to do what they're doing, ignoring it. Now, I can't blame them, obviously, because who am I to tell them what to do? But the Israeli government has the right to do so because they live there. So they tell them to go into the shelters as soon as the alarm goes off, because but those refusing to go in because they haven't got kosher to go in. And I understand it's too much every day, another siren, but it saves lives, because look what happened. You can see people walking around there after the sirens go off, and the cluster bombs, terrible bombs, are just coming down directly at them and hitting them and injuring them. It's dangerous. Windows are falling. Things are big, massive, huge cars are flying in the air. Not a joke. In Bnei Barak, 9 people were hurt when Iranian cluster bombs hit the city. A cluster bomb, like I said, is a weapon that breaks apart in the sky and drops many smaller explosives over a wide area. Among the wounded in Bnei Barak were a 23-year-old man who was hit by shrapnel, and an 8-year-old woman, and 6 children. Lo Ilainu V'La Aleichem. It was terrible. It was awful. Oh, terrible. Including a baby, a boy and a baby. All of them were injured by the shrapnel. Baruch Hashem, no killing, no deaths, and Hashem Yerachem, Hashem Yishmor V'Yatzil, but they're all in hospital, and it's hard for me to hear this and to actually tell you the stories, but this is what happened. In Kuwait, we have to daven for the Refuah Shalom. Many in Arad as well, by the way. Talk about it soon. A drone crashed into a fuel tank at an international airport that started a very, very big fire. Meanwhile, the United States and Israel hit back very hard overnight. They struck a residential area in Tehran, Iran's capital, Isfahan, Natanz. Big strikes. Bombing, loads of launchers. Some people report that they're out of launchers, but I don't know about that. And they also bombed a huge place where they make submarines. The Iranian submarine capabilities are over, in other words. At least 12 people were killed there and 28 were wounded. They say it was a residential building, one of the strikes that they did. Over in Iraq, a British Special Forces base was attacked by 14 Iranian suicide drones overnight. But the bases shot them all down. Officials are calling this the biggest single attack on British forces since the fighting started. Back in Washington, Senator Bernie Sanders is actively trying to stop the American war effort. What he's saying is this morning, like many others, like the Prime Minister of Spain and many other lefts, I would call them lunatics, because the very far left lunatics, not Khalil V'chaz Democrats. Democrats, there's many choshev people out there And everyone has their opinions. I'm not going about that. I'm going about the fact that there are the left lunatics there. This morning he said he will absolutely not support giving $200 billion to the military for this conflict. He also filed paperwork today to stop the United States from selling 22,000 bombs to Israel. He went as far as calling this an illegal war. Now, despite all of this fighting, Iran's top military leaders are completely denying that they are talking about peace. Abbas Arakchi just said, no peace, no negotiations, no nothing, no talks. They put out a statement mocking the peace ideas of President Trump. And they said that the United States is basically just negotiating with itself. It's a good joke, by the way. They are also sticking more labels on their missiles before shooting them out for an attack, with mockery of President Trump. But behind closed doors, that is not the whole story. The Trump administration quietly sent a 15-point ceasefire plan to Iran, using the country of Pakistan as a messenger, as a middleman. Here is exactly what the United States is demanding in that plan. They want to put limits on Iran's ballistic missiles, which are weapons that fly very high through space and reach very, very far targets. They also want strict rules on Iran's nuclear program. No nuclear. And a guarantee that they want the nuclear to be transferred directly to the United States or under the constant watch of the IAEA thing. Forgot the whole abbreviation, it's no whatever. A guaranteed ships that can, and also a guarantee that ships can pass safely through the Strait of Hormuz. In return, the United States would lift financial punishments against Iran, which is known as sanctions relief. President Donald J. Trump said that Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio are personally leading this peace effort. Trump also said Iran has already given the United States a very big present that is worth a tremendous amount of money. He said the gift was related to the oil and gas and a safe movement of ships through the sea. If he means that sarcastically because he can take and seize the Karg Island with the oil, which is the big conversation right now, or that they actually gave him I don't know. But Iran has its own demands. They are refusing to deal with American envoys Jared Kushner, Trump's Jewish son-in-law, and Steve Witkoff. The Iranians say they feel betrayed by them in the past. Instead, Iran is demanding that Vice President J.D. Vance be the one sitting across the table because he's softer. They do not see him as someone who is eager to go to war. Kids, in other words, I will tell you this, exactly what it says in the Pusik, that we said on Shabbos Zucher, the Shabbos that the Mechumah started. Yeah. Iranian officials also told mediators that they rejected the talks because they feel that they have been tricked twice. They pointed to the fact that Israel attacked them last June, right before nuclear talks, and that the US and Israeli military strikes that came in just 2 days after tentative agreements in Geneva. Agreements, huh? The United States is pushing for a face-to-face meeting in Pakistan as early as tomorrow. Meanwhile, the press secretary, Caroline Levitt, just stood up and, giving a press conference saying, with her remarks, President Trump doesn't blush when he says he's going to unleash hell. He's going to unleash hell on Iran. Meanwhile, the United States is showing its military strength and successfully destroying Iranian terror networks. Iran recently claimed that they fired a missile at the American aircraft carrier, the USS Abraham Lincoln. But the United States is pushing back. And they're pushing back very hard on the ground. American A-10 Warthog planes, which are warplanes, big aeroplanes that fly very low onto to the ground and destroy tanks and military bases, just destroyed targets belonging to the Iranian-backed militias in western Iraq. At least 7 terrorists, like I mentioned yesterday, were killed and 10 wounded in those strikes. Separately, Iraqi sources are also reported that 2 Iraqi soldiers, not the militia, were killed and 20 others were wounded near a militia base that was hit and struck by the United States in the exact same area. Now they are complaining to the UN against the US. The night before, and the UN obviously condemned it, which they're good at doing. This is you want someone to condemn something, you go to the UN. The night before these American strikes, Shiite militias claimed that they attacked the American consulate in Erbil, which is up northern Iraq. The terrorists also released drone footage showing the attack on the American Victoria base, which is in Baghdad. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait a sec. Where they hit Black Hawk helicopters on the ground and a radar system used to detect incoming drones. And just as an FYI, now here is the point I wanted to tell you. Camp Victory and the Victory Base complex as a whole hasn't been in American hands since 2011, when it was turned over to the Iraqi government. What remains at or near Baghdad International Airport is described in recent reporting as a US diplomatic and logistics hub, not a full military base, which is why militias still label this as a US base and obviously target it. Also on the military side, the Pentagon just ordered the 82nd Airborne Division to go to the Middle East. This is one of the Army's top groups that they are trained to jump out of airplanes with parachutes and be ready to fight the second that they hit ground. The military is sending anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 of these soldiers. Marine units are also on their way right now. The American Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, told reporters very clearly, we negotiate with bombs. I think they said up to 50,000 soldiers in the Middle East altogether. Up in Lebanon, the Israeli army continues its heavy strikes against the Hezbollah terror group, and Israel is clearly winning. Israel is telling the people in Lebanon to leave their homes so that they don't get hurt, as the army successfully destroys terror targets. Overnight, the IDF captured a Hezbollah-linked cell commander and transferred him to Israel for interrogation. Now, that's a big win for them. In a huge shift, the country of Lebanon just kicked out Iran's ambassador. They ordered him to pack up and leave within 5 days. This shows that the Lebanese government is trying to break free from Iran's control and take their country back again. Because they are losing, Hezbollah is reportedly trying to find ways to kidnap Israeli soldiers. They want to use kidnapped soldiers to force a deal. They're getting desperate. Security reports say that the terrorists are looking for creative vulnerabilities, which simply means they are looking for weak spots where it might be easier to grab a soldier. But on the battlefield, Hezbollah is losing ground quickly. The Israeli army is moving further in the north, in the Kaim area. I think things have gone totally quiet. Hezbollah isn't even reporting any fighting there anymore, which means Israel is in full control now. Israel also bombed a gas station that was tied to Hezbollah to help cut off their terrorists' money supply, which I mentioned yesterday. All right, but even as Israelis successfully fight back, Western countries are still trying to condemn them and tell them what to do. Today, the leaders of Australia, Canada, and France warned Israel not to set up a security buffer zone in southern Lebanon like they're doing. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu confirmed today that Israel neutralized the threat that the north has suffered until now. Israel wants to hold on to the land between Litani River and the Israeli border so terrorists cannot shoot rockets into Israeli towns from there. The fighting has already forced more than 1 million people to be evacuated out of their homes inside of Lebanon, but these foreign leaders are demanding that Israel stay out of Lebanon, of that buffer zone. Now, inside Israel, a group called the Palestinian Prisoners Club reports that the army has arrested about 100 Palestinian prisoners who were just released during the recent ceasefire deals. Also, Israeli citizens have filed more than 12,000 claims to get money for homes and property that have been damaged since the war began. Arad has so far seen severe damage and injuries. Now before Pesach, so many Yidden have no roof above their heads because of that. It's very sad what's going on there. Many of them, my parents, are still in hospitals fighting for their lives. Rabbi Sa, we need you to fill us. Each and every one of you, at least as a Yid, Kol Yisrael Arayvim Zelazeh has a responsibility to daven, take out a Tehillim, daven for them. See what you can do. If you can do something physically, sending money, whatever it is to help, do it. Before Pesach, Kimcha de Pesach has never been so much more important than now. Meanwhile, over Tehran, the Iranian government is hanging up posters with quotes from Adolf Hitler. They wrote the quotes in Persian, very bad quotes, with a picture of Mustafa Khamenei, who, by the way, they're saying that he's hasn't got much control anymore, although they're saying he has control, but people are making decisions without him. With or without him, doesn't make a difference, but I don't know, whatever decisions he makes is anyway not the same as them, but yeah. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. The reports are very confusing. Anyway, this is what they did. Yeah. Now, the Israeli Knesset lawmakers are moving forward with a bill that would give the death penalty to terrorists. It would make it much easier for a military judge to order a death sentence for a terrorist. Israel also officially gave the green light to build a permanent United States embassy building in Yerushalayim. Until now, it was temporary, just so you know. And finally, for this section of the news, families of terror victims are finally getting some justice. The victims of the 2001 Sbarro, I think it's called Sbarro pizzeria bombing in Yerushalayim 24 years ago, right? The same year that the 9/11 attacks happened, are receiving money from a $318 million settlement. That terrible attack killed 15 people, including many children, right in the middle of a busy lunch hour. The settlement money comes from the sale of a skyscraper in Manhattan that was secretly tied to Iran. All this fighting is causing major money and supply problems all over the world. The Strait of Hormuz is almost completely closed right now because of this. The price of oil dropped nearly 6%. Brent crude and West Texas Intermediate, which are the main global price benchmarks for oil, both fell sharply. Also, investigators are looking into mystery traders who might have made millions of dollars by placing bets on the stock market right before President Trump posted about the possible ceasefire. When the news of a possible ceasefire came out, the stock markets in Asia and Australia shot up. But the supply problems are still very real. Australia is dealing with a massive fuel crisis, and hundreds of their gas stations have completely run out of gas. Over the Philippines, they just declared a national energy emergency because of their fuel shipments, because the fuel shipments have stopped arriving. Now for some news out of London. British police arrested 2 men today for the arson attack that happened on the Golders Green Hatzalah. But first, let's talk about Protobyte. Protobyte is your place to go when you need to design software. Software that is complicated for you, but easy for them to design. You just call them, tell them what you need, and they'll give you a detailed plan with a clear design plan. 347-354-1237, or if you're in England, you can call 020-3535-6600. You can WhatsApp them on the same number. The details are below. You can go to proto-byte.com. All right. Early Monday morning, someone set fire to 4 ambulances in Golders Green. These ambulances belonged to Hatzalah of Golders Green, the Jewish Volunteer Medical Service. Just so you know, a brand new Islamic terror group in London, in England, has claimed responsibility for this, proudly, that they did this. Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, paid a visit to the rescue headquarters in Stamford Hill to show his support for the community. Now, I want to point out something. Let's be honest about this. Mayor Khan is acting like a total hypocrite here. It is exactly like Zoharan Mamdani, the Muslim mayor of New York City. They constantly talk about how Muslims are the ones in danger in these towns, in these cities. They completely ignore the real anti-Semitism, which is actually real. Now, I understand, at the same time, Muslims, and good Muslims, are being, looked at and classified as, compared to terrorists. But the fact of the matter is that a larger percentage of terrorists are Islamic. And this is the fact. So it does happen, and it's sad. It's sad. But at the same time, they can't completely ignore the real danger. They don't say it. They don't even talk about it. They don't realize, in their own words, because violence against Jews, and then these hypocrites come and make nice with the Jews after an attack happens, right? That's when they come. Anyway, also in the UK, the government just gave the medical board the power to quickly take away the medical licenses of doctors who act out in anti-Semitic ways. Look at the systematic hypocrisy again here. While they fire anti-Semitic doctors, Kent Police in England just decided they will do absolutely nothing about an art exhibition that shows Jews as blood-soaked baby-eating demons. They cleared the anti-Semitic art. They said it's okay, but they cracked down on the doctors. A new investigation shows that the Arabic version of Wikipedia is completely full of terrorist propaganda. Terror groups are actually writing the articles. Well, you can actually edit Wikipedia, you know that, right? To push their anti-Jewish lies. In Canada, the government is getting a lot of heat today. They deported 1 Iranian official, but they are letting 23 other people who are tied to the terror networks stay in the country. In New Jersey, Governor Mickey Sherrill is facing backlash because she visited a mosque that used to be run by an imam connected to Hamas. And back in Detroit, speaking of that, imams who support terrorists, those imams, back in Detroit, the police chief who responded to the synagogue attack last week is now being harassed by anti-Semites online. Over in Washington, the Department of Homeland Security has now been shut down for over 5 weeks as politicians fight over money. Just yesterday, Mark Wayne Mullen was sworn in as the new Secretary of Homeland Security. Also yesterday, Secretary of State Marco Rubio had to testify in federal court against his old friend, former Congressman David Rivera. David Rivera is on trial because he secretly took $50 million to work for the government of Venezuela. Rubio told the judge that he had absolutely no idea about the money, and he never would have even met with Rivera if he knew he was working for the Venezuelan regime. In local politics, politics. A Democrat just won a special election for Florida state seat in Palm Beach. That is right in President Trump's backyard. The Pentagon, in other news, is tearing down the media room for journalists inside the building. They are doing this right after a judge ordered the military to give the New York Times their press passes back, after what Trump told them that they're spreading false information, so he revoked their passes. But the judge ordered it back. The FBI just charged 34 Chinese medical companies in a major crackdown called Operation Box Cutter. A Boxschnader. The FBI says these companies have been selling precursor chemicals, which are the raw ingredients used to make drugs, to the Gulf cartel in Mexico. The cartel uses these chemicals to make fentanyl, which is a deadly man-made drug that is killing thousands of people in the United States and all over the world, might I say. By the way, just in case you thought the Middle East had the monopoly on the global meltdowns right now, don't worry. We still have another massive catastrophic war going on. You know the one in Europe? Yeah, that is still happening. Russia just fired nearly 1,000 Shahed drones into Ukraine in one single day. It was one of the biggest attacks from the sky since the war started, 4 years ago now. It knocked out the power for thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, and it even cut the power lines in the neighboring country of Moldova. Unbelievable. President Trump has officially thrown his full support behind the Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban. Right before the upcoming elections, President Trump is making a major push for Congress to renew a foreign surveillance tool known as FISA, or FISA. Let's call it FISA. It is a U.S. law. I'm sorry about that. It's a U.S. law that basically sets the rules for how the government, like the NSA or the FBI, can legally spy on foreign threats. While he used to strongly oppose the program, the president now says recent reforms have fixed past abuses. He is asking for an 18-month extension, arguing that our military and intelligence teams desperately need this tool right now to keep troops safe and track threats during the war with Iran. And speaking of Iran, the Wall Street Journal says the UAE's ambassador to the US reminded everyone that his country is right on the front lines, intercepting thousands of Iranian missiles and suffering the most. And drones as well. He's urging the US not to settle for a quick ceasefire. Instead, he wants to see Iran's military and the regime and the nuclear threats completely neutralized. He says Iran can't win. Iran's nuclear capabilities have been degraded. Its proxies have been weakened. More needs to be done, he says. He announced that the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, is ready to join an international coalition to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and keep it that way. Back in the US, major drama is unfolding in the murder trial of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. A former top counterterrorism official named Joe Kent, who resigned, just announced he plans to testify in the trial. Kent, who was on Tucker Carlson, for those of you who remember, is publicly arguing against the FBI's claim that the suspected killer, Tyler Robinson, acted alone. Kent's comments are feeding into massive internet conspiracy theories. And it is causing total chaos with Kirk's organization, Turning Point USA. A spokesman for the group argued back against Kent today, accusing him of being obsessed with wild rumors instead of focusing on getting real justice for Charlie Kirk. There was also new audio from the terrible plane crash at LaGuardia Airport in New York. But first, Kliger. Let's get a little Kliger. You want to transform the way your business works? You want a surprise? Check out Kliger. Go on to KLEEGR.com. Call them, 845-335-3343. Mention my name. Say On Edge. You'll be surprised what he can do for your business. Something about WhatsApp and all of the communication systems that you have that run you with a business, all of the payment systems, the tracking systems, CRM systems, everything. He has a solution that is blow you away. Okay? Call them. All right. The air traffic controller admitted on tape that he was distracted right before the passenger plane crashed into the fire truck on the runway. Tragically, both pilots on the plane were killed. I think his name is Mr. Forrest and also Mr. Gunther. Both the pilot and the co-pilot were killed. Investigators now say that the fire truck was missing a transponder, which is a device that sends the truck's exact location to the control tower. That was also a mistake. And if it had been working, the crash might have never happened, they say. And let's end with a interesting and funny thing Trump said, which is actually going to make some people laugh. But first, let's talk about YS Capital Group. YS Capital Group. Willst du machen Aputuler for an investment in Yiddish gerät? If you want to make an investment, you have a building that you want to invest in, you want to borrow some money, a few $1,000,000, would answer that. 718-831-2168. They're direct lenders, fast approvals. Just go there and get yourself a loan for your investment. And Arrive Express is the taxi I rely on. 845-622-1111 or 845-254-1111. At first, Trump said that he would finish the war in Iran very, very quickly, or as he put it,
bing, 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 boom, it's gone. It's amazing.
He said it would be so easy to do because we have the greatest military on the planet, and nobody has ever seen anything like it, or as he puts it,
bing, 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 missile launch, bing, boom.
Iran claimed that they would sink the US ships, the carriers, right, the aircraft carriers at the bottom of the sea. But the US sunk their entire navy to the bottom of the ocean, or better yet, the way Trump puts it,
they're like this, and we're like, ding, boom, this is me. I hear, bing.
Trump says that we will deploy as many soldiers as necessary to the Middle East, because we have the biggest military, and here is how Trump described it.
They're like this, and we're like, ding, boom, this is me. I hear, bing.
So now we're almost 4 weeks in this war, and it looks like Trump wants to end it already. He's getting tired, or as he puts it,
take me home, mommy, this is too tough for me.
Anyway, my friends, have yourselves a wonderful day and a wonderful time, and we'll see each other better tomorrow.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.